Hello, friends. I look very different today because I'm dressed up like a scientist would look living in Antarctica. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to take off all of my winter gear that scientists wear in Antarctica. And I want to show you some pictures of some real scientists that live in Antarctica. The weather is so cold that they really have to layer up. So you saw that I had on a face mask that covered all of my face except for my eyes. And a lot of the scientists in these pictures are wearing protection for their eyes too. So you saw me wearing some eye protection and a winter hat. So Antarctica is so cold that people really don't live there like that live here in our forest area. In Antarctica, the only people living there are scientists who are studying the weather of Antarctica. Look at that. Studying the weather of Antarctica. They study the water in Antarctica. And they study different rock formations and animals that are in Antarctica. Look at all that floating ice. Here's some more scientists. So, here lots of people live in North America, but in Antarctica, there really aren't people that live. It's just scientists who are doing research, and they live in tents a lot of times when they're researching Antarctica. So they have to go away from their base and set up tents near what area of Antarctica they're researching. And depending on what they're studying, they'll take boats to different locations. Here's a scientist taking water samples. And I learned something interesting about Antarctica, that all the scientists, when they arrive in Antarctica, have to learn how to build shelter with snow and ice. So they all learn to build different structures and shelters from snow and from ice. They have to take a special training that's called survival training because it is so hard to survive in Antarctica, which is why people don't live there. Okay, friends, so today we're going to learn about the physical geography of Antarctica. That's really what Antarctica looks like. So you need this. Oh, your paper doesn't look like that. Hold on, your paper is blank. You need this paper of the whole continent of Antarctica, and you need colored pencils or crayons. I'm going to use colored pencils. And I also need a regular pencil. Let me see if I can find that. Let me open up my box and get out a regular pencil. All right, got it. There's my regular pencil, my colored pencils, and my paper. Okay. So let's start by talking about Antarctica, that it's an island. It's a body of land that's surrounded on all sides by water, super cold water. So I'm going to get out my light blue colored pencil, and I'm going to show that the ocean surrounds Antarctica. All the water is ocean water. So I'm going to make lines like this to show the ocean. Okay, and while we're making symbols for our map, I'm going to make something over here called a key so that I know what each symbol stands for. So over here, I'm going to make my symbol for the ocean, and then I'm going to write ocean. Ocean. Okay, so our continent is surrounded on all sides by water that we call the ocean. There's something really special that runs all the way through Antarctica. It is a mountain range. So I'm going to make little triangles like this to show the big mountain range in Antarctica. Okay, there's my mountain. It really separates this side from this side. If we were going to travel from this side of Antarctica, we would have to go over the mountain range. Okay, so on my key, I'm going to draw a brown triangle, and I'm going to write mountain. 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 The brown triangle shows a mountain. Well, it's not really a triangle because I didn't connect the base. Okay, so we have a large mountain range through Antarctica. So before we talked about Antarctica and we compared it to the Arctic that's in the North Pole. So the Arctic has the North Pole and it's up near North America. Antarctica has the South Pole. So let's mark on our map where the South Pole is. Let's get out red for this. The South Pole is the farthest point south on our Earth. And I'm going to mark it with a red cross to show the South Pole. South Pole. And over here, I'm going to make it on my key, my cross, And instead of writing out the whole word South Pole, I'm going to write the initials like we did on our other map, where I wrote an S for south and P for pole. That marks the South Pole. Okay, right down here, over the water that's right here, but not on the land, is something very special in Antarctica called an ice shelf. Say ice shelf. And an ice shelf is exactly what you think it is. It is a shelf of ice. It comes off of the land and over the water. And it's a shelf made from ice. And down here in Antarctica, this ice shelf is huge. So for our ice shelf, I'm going to make lots of blue dots to show this ice shelf. Okay, there's our ice shelf. So let's mark that on our key. Ice shelf. It's two words, so I put a space in between. Ice shelf. Okay, so we have our ocean all around Antarctica, our land. Then we have our mountain range that goes all the way across and separates this side of Antarctica from this side. What is that red cross showing us on our map? That's right, it's marking the South Pole of the Earth, and that's where it is. And these blue dots are showing the shelf of ice that's right over this water. Okay, let's see what else we can find out about the physical geography of Antarctica. Oh, I see something that we know. Antarctica is definitely called this, and so is this. We've talked about these things before that are a body of land surrounded on all sides by water. And I see a piece of land here and water all around it. What do we call that? Island. Island is what we call a body of land surrounded by water. I'm going to get my purple out and I'm going to make a purple square on my island to show that in Antarctica there's an island right here off the coast. So let's mark that on our key. Island. Island. Okay, so we've marked the island here on our map. So at the beginning, remember how I was dressed as a scientist? And I showed you some pictures of scientists in Antarctica. Well, on our map, let's mark one of the biggest research stations in Antarctica. It's called the McMurdo Station, and it's down here. Right here in Antarctica. Okay, and this is where a lot of the scientists, when they fly into Antarctica, they station here, and then let's say that they want to study mountains. They might leave this station with their tents and go way up here to study different parts of a mountain. Or they may fly into Antarctica and station here and decide, we want to study some things near the South Pole. So they have to go all the way here. They'd probably take a car or some sort of vehicle that really travels well in the snow, and they would station their tents here to do their research, and then they would go back to the station. So a lot of the scientists are stationed here, and they leave here with their tents to go study different places in Antarctica. So this marks McMurdo Station. So I'm going to mark that on my key so I know when I'm looking at this map that this black dot is telling me where the McMurdo Station is. McMurdo Station. McMurdo Station. Okay, when you're writing your words, you might need to push pause on the video so that you can write your word before you start the next part of our map. Okay, so if you need to, push pause right here so you can finish writing your letters. Okay, I'm going to keep going now to see what else we can discover about the physical geography of Antarctica. So we know that mountains are very tall. Normally, in between mountain ranges or near mountains are very low places called valleys. Say valley. Yes, a valley is a very low place. So right next to these high mountains, there is a low, dry valley. So I'm going to make a big, kind of a lip shape here. And I'm going to color it in to show that low, dry valley. Okay, and let me make this mark on my key so I know this stands for that low, dry valley. I'm going to write valley. V-A-L-E, valley. Valley. Okay, we have discovered lots and lots about Antarctica. We have our ocean that surrounds it. And you know what? I think we might need to make lots of little ocean symbols so we know that there's water on all sides of Antarctica. So we'll do that next. Then we looked at our mountain range that separates this side of Antarctica from this side. Do you remember what that red cross stands for? We marked it SP on our key. That's right, South Pole. It stands for the South Pole. I wonder if you remember what this is that's coming off of our land over the water. The ice shelf. That's right, there's our ice shelf. And Let's see, I see a purple square. What does that stand for? Let's find it on our map and see if we can figure it out. It looks like land surrounded by water. What do we call that again? Island. Yes, the island is right there, and Antarctica is an island too. Oh yes, our most important research station for scientists, the McMurdo Station, is right here. And what's this green ellipse shape right next to that high mountain range? A low valley. Okay, let's see if there's any other things that we can label on our map. This is interesting here. It's a piece of land that's going far out into the water. And I see that on lots of sides of it, it's really mostly surrounded by water. It's not an island because it's not all the way surrounded by water. This part connects to the mainland. But I see this part of it jutting out, this part of land. I know. We're going to mark this because that is called a peninsula. Say peninsula. What we're going to do is we're going to draw yellow lines all across the peninsula, like stripes almost. Peninsula. There we go. Okay, see my yellow stripes to show this peninsula that's mostly surrounded by water, but not on all sides. It's connected here to the land. So let's mark this on our key. I'm going to draw 3 yellow stripes and label it peninsula. Peninsula. Okay, so a peninsula is a piece of land that's surrounded on most of the sides by water. When I was a student, we used to say it's surrounded on 3 sides, but I think it's really just surrounded mostly by water, and part of it is attached to the land. An island has to be fully surrounded by water. Okay, so there's our peninsula, and I think we were going to mark more of our ocean because I do want to show that this peninsula has water on this side and on this side of it too. Okay, so let's mark lots of different areas of the ocean to show that Antarctica is surrounded by water, by the ocean. I'm going to mark it up here too. Okay, so now you can really see how Antarctica is surrounded by water. Very cold water. And you'll learn from a video, if you might have already watched the video, if you haven't, that you cannot go to Antarctica in their winter, because in the winter, not all of it, a lot of this water close to Antarctica freezes, and it makes it a larger continent. So boats can't get to it because all of this becomes frozen ice. Antarctica is just so cold. Okay, I have one more thing I want us to mark on our maps, and we need orange. We need our orange crayon or colored pencil. We are going to mark where the most glaciers are found in Antarctica. So over here, I'm going to start marking my glaciers by drawing orange lines. Okay, a lot of people think that glaciers are in the water, but they're not. Glaciers are a landform. And what happens over time is that snow keeps packing down on top of each other, and it creates a big piece of ice. But it's on the land. It's not in the water. In the water, it would be an iceberg that you would see or floating ice. A glacier is a big piece of ice, and it does move slowly, but it's a landform. And there are lots and lots of glaciers in this part of Antarctica. So let's mark 3 lines and we'll write glacier. Glacier. Okay, so Antarctica, a lot of people think it's a glacier. It's just a floating piece of ice, like a piece of ice land, but it's not. Antarctica has rock underneath the ice and snow of it. A glacier is a big piece of ice that becomes the land, but there's no rock underneath it. It's all ice, and it moves very slowly. So here's where the most glaciers are in Antarctica. I think we have found out a lot about what Antarctica's physical geography is. So let's look at our key again and see if we remember all of the different things we've learned. What is our curvy blue line showing us all around Antarctica? Yes, it's showing the ocean and the water that surrounds it. Very, very cold water. What about this half, like almost triangle that's brown, that kind of looks like a peak? What's that showing us on our map? That's right, the mountains that separate this side of Antarctica from this side. That's a big mountain range, the very high mountains. What about this red cross? What is that showing us? The South Pole. That's right, we know exactly where the South Pole is in Antarctica. How about these blue dots here that are jutting out over the water? What is that showing us? An ice shelf. Yes, an ice shelf. How about this little purple square here? It's showing us the island that's a piece of land surrounded by water. I'm seeing a big black dot here. Who remembers what that is? It is the place for the scientists that come in, and it's called the McMurdo Station. So they station there, but they, I bet a lot of times go to explore and investigate the glaciers. So they would drive far across Antarctica and set up their tents here to explore the glaciers. Oh, okay, I'm seeing this green ellipse right next to the high mountains. What is this showing? The low, dry valley, that's right. And up here, I see this piece of land that's surrounded on most of its sides by water, but not all of the sides. It starts with the sound Peninsula. Good job. And these are marking the glaciers in Antarctica. Okay, friends, you did a great job on your map today. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about, we've learned a lot about what the physical geography of Antarctica looks like. And tomorrow, we're going to learn about the biome, the plants, the animals, the soil, the air, the water, and all of those things about Antarctica. So I'm going to show you a biome of Antarctica, and we'll see that the plants and animals are so different from the plants and animals here because it's so cold there. Okay, friends, I'll see you later. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.